Hello friends, welcome to an academy. This is me, Dr. Sidharth Arora. Friends, if you've been watching the news, if you've been on social media, आप कोई television channel खोल के देख लो, you look at any newspaper, one thing that is right at the top of the headlines are the farmers' protests, which is happening in and around Delhi. We have been seeing disturbing signs. There have been whole numbers of protesters, equivalent number, if not more, of police officers and men who are guarding the borders of Delhi, not letting these farmers enter into Delhi for reasons of maintaining of law and order. Number one, I am not making a video on whether the demands of the farmers, ये जो farmers demand कर रहे हैं, ये जायज है या नहीं है, ये ठीक है या नहीं है. Also, I am not going to comment upon what the government should or should not do. I learned it very early in my life that we should never venture into a territory in which we do not have competence. We are not privy, you are not privy to what is the discussion happening between the government and the protesters. So हम उस पर कोई कमेंट नहीं करेंगे. Not a word will be uttered in that regards. However, as a student of law, as a practicing advocate in the Supreme Court, I am bothered about this thing. That is the constitution allowing this kind of protest or not? क्या हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में, क्या हमारे संविधान में इस तरह के प्रोटेस्ट की आजादी है या नहीं है, जिस तरह की हम लोग इस टाइम पर होते हुए देख रहे हैं? So, very important question, and the entire premise of this video is: does the Constitution give the freedom to its citizens to get into this, the protest, the kind of protest that we are seeing on the border of Delhi as we speak today? So, मेरा और किसी बारे में कोई विचार नहीं है, ना मैं चाहता हूं कि मेरा पॉलिटिकल बायस या पर्सनल ओपिनियन इस वीडियो में आए, ना मैं चाहता हूं कि मेरे लर्नर्स या फिर जो इस ऑडियंस जो इस वीडियो को देख रहे हैं वो उनका पर्सनल बायस या पॉलिटिकल थॉट प्रोसेस इस वीडियो पे आए. मेरा सिर्फ एकमात्र थॉट प्रोसेस ये है: इज दिस काइंड ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट लीगल और नॉट? So for those of you who do not know me, I'm Dr. Sidharth Arora. I'm a practicing advocate in the Supreme Court of India, and I've been blessed by the love and the respect of thousands and thousands of the learners on our educators platform, with more than 30 crore plus watch minutes on an academy platform itself. SIDLIVE, SIDLIVE मेरा referral code है. An academy, whenever you want to join any subscription, whenever you want to take any subscription on an academy, please use the code SIDLIVE, SIDLIVE. You will get huge benefits of which is already a very reasonable platform of an academy. You will get even further benefits. So before we, not a single more second I want to waste and want straight to go to the topic. So the topic is here. You look at any newspaper, किसी newspaper की कोई headline देखो, as a concerned Indian citizen, one tends to get disturbed about it. ये क्या हो रहा है? What is happening? Why so much of violence? Why so much of hooliganism? Where is the law and order situation finally going to end up into? Now, अगर तुम ट्विटर पे जाओगे, सोशल मीडिया पे जाके देख रहे हो, या फिर इवन इफ यू आर टॉकिंग इन uninformed circle, एक word, the one word that is being thrown around almost needlessly and carelessly is a word called as right to protest. तुमने सबसे सुना होगा right to protest है जी, विरोध का अधिकार है. हम लोग जनतंत्र में रहते हैं, डेमोक्रेसी में right to protest is a part of a fundamental right. Agreed that in a democracy right to protest is a fundamental right. Yes, agreed. In fact, it is desirable that people should come out and express their dissent if they do not agree in so much as the policy or the law of the government is concerned. Absolutely. लेकिन पहले ये तो जान लो कि what does right to protest actually entail as per the provisions of the constitution. पहले ये तो पता कर लो कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कौन सा राइट टू प्रोटेस्ट की बात करता है. So point one, that is very, very important. This is a very, very important discussion. Make sure that you don't miss a moment of this. So this is a good position. This is a good place for us to deep dive into what does the Constitution say about right to protest. Number one, very important for all of us to note is कि right to protest expressly कहीं Constitution में नहीं लिखा हुआ. In the exact words called protest, the words are not written anywhere in the Constitution of India. Constitution of India actually writes something else. The Constitution writes the word to assemble. Every citizen, all citizens of India have the fundamental right or the Maulik Adhikar to assemble. Article 19 subclause 1 subclause B में लिखा हुआ है all citizens shall have the right to assemble. I am 100% with you. We are on the same page. If you want to say कि right to assemble में धरनास निकालना अलाउड है, processions अलाउड है, rallies निकालना है, protest करना है, all done, everything accepted, not an iota of doubt. लेकिन it is never a good practice. In fact, it will always do us a harm if you do not realize that law or constitution is not to be read piecemeal. In other words, आप उसमें से छोटे छोटे पार्ट्स निकाल के अपनी मर्जी के अनुसार नहीं पढ़ना स्टार्ट करते हो. You have to read the law in toto, in substance and in spirit. Law has to be followed completely. So it will do you a world of good if you read this entire line. It says to assemble peaceably and without arms. The word is peaceably and without arms. Yes, there is a fundamental right टू असेंबल. यस, आप उसको स्ट्रेच करके समझ सकते हो राइट टू प्रोटेस्ट. एब्सोल्युटली अग्रीड, एब्सोल्युटली एक्सेप्टेड. Point to be noted here is that this is not an unqualified freedom. This is not an absolute freedom. Constitution does not allow all protests. It allows that freedom of assembly which is peaceable, शांति पूर्वक एंड विदाउट आर्म्स, किसी वेपन के या फिर हथियारों के बिना होना चाहिए. जब तक यू डू नॉट come to the conclusion and do not actually put your head together and understand that यहाँ पर assemble या protest word is not one single word but it is a qualified word, you are bound to make a mistake and you are going to come into the error wherein you will not be able to draw a line between what is called as protest, which is a peaceful protest, vis-a-vis a violent protest. These are absolutely two different elements as distinguished between each other as dark and light, night and day. In that sense, ये है peaceable and without arms. Alongside that, if we continue to reading the Constitution, Article 19 को ही मैं आगे पढ़ता चले जाऊं तो Article 19 subclause 3 आएगा. This is Article 19 subclause 1. You read Article 19 subclause 3. Go a few paragraphs below this fundamental right. You will notice कि there are reasonable grounds of restriction. State को पूरी permission है. The state is allowed. In fact, the article starts with the word nothing in this article shall stop or prohibit the state from making reasonable grounds of restriction on this freedom on the grounds of sovereignty of India, integrity of India and the maintenance of public order. तो आपकी फ्रीडम ऑफ असेंबली, राइट टू प्रोटेस्ट मेरे देश के सॉवरेनिटी, इंटेग्रिटी और पब्लिक ऑर्डर को डिस्टर्ब नहीं कर सकती. जस्ट इन केस यू डिसाइड टू डू सो, don't worry, the state will come rushing. The state has all the powers to restrict your freedom of assembly because you are falling under the reasonable grounds of restriction. So again and again repeating that the Constitution does not give you an absolute right to assemble. The Constitution does not give you an unqualified right to assemble. And henceforth, you can gather from all these points that the Constitution is not giving you the right to protest in any which way as you wish to. The Constitution is only going to give you that freedom of assembly which is peaceable and without arms. This issue has to be understood, and these are not my notes. This is exactly in Article 19 of the Constitution. You can read 19 subclause 1 subclause B. It says to assemble peaceably and without arms. So when you're reading the Constitution, you might as well read the entire Constitution. You might as well understand the entire law. Don't read the constitution and don't seek those rights which are actually not available to you, but suits your convenience and your interest at that time. This is the world of rule of law. India is a country which is the rule under the rule of law. Lex rex. Law is the king. So you have to obey the law. You cannot just force your wishes into the law. Read Article 19, subclause 3. It says nothing in subclause B, the one which I just said, nothing in subclause B will stop the state from making, will prevent the state from making any law imposing in the interest of sovereignty, integrity, or public order reasonable restrictions. Now, the question that arises, or the question that is crying out for an answer is this protest in the way that it is happening, should it or should it not attract the reasonable restrictions? Is breaking law and order, falling within the definition of the word public order? I dare say answer is yes. The entire capital city has been put to a hostage like situation. Borders are closed. No care, कोई ख्याल नहीं है कि क्या होने वाला है सिविक इम्यूनिटीज का, किसी को मेडिकल इमरजेंसी होगा तो कैसे मैनेज होगा. The supply chains have been blocked. Essential elements, essential supplies will be blocked. And before I say anything, first of all, we do not know what will be the end to this. This situation is still developing. We do not know where is it going to end up into. We don't want this law and this condition or this protest to finally destroy the law and order situation, which of course the state is not going to allow. But we don't want to see these kind of signs and these kinds of news on our screens every day. First of all, it is not good for a mature democracy such as ours. Number two, the world is watching us today. We are one of the contenders to become a superpower in the next few years. Is this the sign? Are these the signs that we want the world to see? जब भी आपकी कंट्री इस तरह का सीन्स दिखाते हैं तो हमारे देश के बहुत सारे जो दुश्मन हैं, जो हमारे देश को डेवलप होते हुए नहीं देखना चाहते, एक मैच्योर डेमोक्रेसी में नहीं कन्वर्ट होना चाहते, देखना चाहते, रूल ऑफ लॉ के बारे में वो 50 तरह के कमेंट्स करेंगे. वो ये बोलेंगे कि डज दिस कंट्री डिजर्व टू बिकम अ सुपर पावर? आई एम अगेन रिपीटिंग, राइट टू प्रोटेस्ट, यस, डेमोक्रेसी में राइट टू प्रोटेस्ट चाहिए चाहिए चाहिए. Dissent is the safety valve of democracy. Absolutely. But is this the kind of protest that you want to see? Where do you draw a line? Where would you say that this is the right to protest and this is the violent protest that we are looking at? We don't want to get into the trouble of telling the world around that हम इतने भी mature नहीं हुए हैं जितना हमें लगता था कि हम हो गए. वी आर द वंस, जो हम चारों तरफ दुनिया को बोल रहे हैं कि वी आर द नेक्स्ट सुपर पावर. दीज आर नॉट द साइंस दैट द इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी शुड बी सीइंग. दीज आर नॉट द पिक्चर्स दैट यू वांट टू सी ऑन योर टेलीविजन स्क्रीन. बिकॉज जब तक हम लॉ को नहीं समझेंगे, जब तक हम ये नहीं समझेंगे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हमें एक्चुअली क्या आजादी दे रहा है, तब तक ऐसे सीन्स रिपीट होते चले जाएंगे. ये मेरा ओपिनियन है. एज अ स्टूडेंट ऑफ लॉ, एज अ प्रैक्टिसिंग एडवोकेट, ये मेरा ओपिनियन है. नेसेसरली ये आपका ओपिनियन नहीं होगा. आपका क्या ओपिनियन है? व्हाट डू यू थिंक? प्लीज भर भर के मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में डालिए कि व्हाट डू यू वांट टू सी. डू यू थिंक दिस प्रोटेस्ट इज लीगल? डू यू थिंक दिस इज विद इन द फोर वॉल्स ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन? डू यू थिंक दैट द स्टेट और द पुलिस क्रैकडाउन is legal or justified? Do you see that this process can be settled down by a far more mature way rather than what we are seeing in this entire episode? जो भी होगा, make sure that you put down in the comments. I'll be very very happy to understand what are you thinking about this. मेरा काम तुम्हें लॉ से अवगत कराना था, मुझे तुम्हें कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बताना था. I hope I have been able to help you in that regard. So those of amongst you who want to join us on Unacademy, I hope तुमको समझ में आ रहा है कि जब मैं इतने से टाइम में तुमको एक strong concept समझा सकता हूं. So then when we have one-to-one discussions and one-to-one classes, I think I'll be able to communicate far more such topics. So those of you who are preparing for civil service examination, you want to join us on Unacademy, you're more welcome than anything. Please use my code SIDLIVE, SIDLIVE. As of now, Unacademy has been giving you bunch of facilities. One amongst them is 50% live, 50% off plus 6 months extension fee. This is available to you. Also, for those of you who are in Delhi and it would be possible for them to see us on 18th of February. On 18th of February, we are conducting a live boot camp workshop with the best of the best educators from all the subjects, prelims to mains, all economy, geography, history, all the best, the top educators will be here. We'll be very happy to interact with you in person. Remember, 18th February, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Pyare Lal Bhavan, Gandhi Memorial Hall, New Delhi. Make sure that you are there. We'll be very happy. Also, this is an academy assured. Abhyarthi se adhikari tak. If you crack prelims, then fully paid online QAP for mains will be available. This is a bonanza kind of an offer. Don't miss this. I hope in this limited period of time I've been able to explain you what I wanted to explain. Make sure that you drop in comments. I'd like to see and hear what my audience wants to share. In the words of an academy, let's crack it. Until next time, God bless, thank you, and Jai Hind.